Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to reintroduce many of the legacy characters as well as some of the sequel trilogy characters that will be used in a way in order to complete the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So, we are now 6 months away from the release of Episode 9, and one aspect of this movie that a lot of fans are truly excited about is, of course, exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to utilize the character of Darth Sidious, also known as Emperor Palpatine. And I think it's even all the more exciting now that we do in fact have Ian McDiarmid, the voice and of course the actor himself of Darth Sidious from the prequels and the originals, is now officially back for Episode 9. So that one thing I gotta say is props to JJ for that, of bringing him back on board for this movie. Let's just hope that he's able to deliver Palpatine in a very satisfying way for the fans around the world. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the set leaks and one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing is that a description of one of the sequences based within the third act of the film, where it's described that as Kylo and Rey are fighting, it's said that Kylo is possessed by the spirit of Sidious after exiting the body of the Dark Acolyte. Kylo is described to try and stop himself from hurting Rey, where Kylo is said to be able to somewhat still take control over parts of his body. The next describes Luke's Force Ghost voice reaching out to Rey, whereas for Kylo, the voice of the spirit of Sidious can be heard in the background by Ian McDiarmid. It's said that Luke's Force Ghost voice appears standing next to Rey, where now the spirit of Sidious is described to reveal itself in front of Luke's Force Ghost over Kylo Ren's shoulder in abstract form. It's described that Luke's Force Ghost goes up against Sidious's spirit and weakens it by where Luke spreads all 5 fingers on his right hand that is now made of flesh and not mechanics, and is pointing directly at the Red Cloud figure that is Palpatine's spirit, where Luke puts the weakened spirit back into Kylo Ren's body. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this, because we do know that Episode 9 is really going to borrow a lot of elements from Star Wars Legends. Now, you guys may or may not recall the Dark Empire comic line. There's 3 of them in the late 1990s. It is now a part of the expanded universe, a great comic line. I do suggest that you guys go ahead and check it out. In there is a moment in which Palpatine actually reveals to Luke Skywalker, where he actually says that perhaps I can even be as you, transferring his essence into Luke Skywalker. Now, though that did not happen, Palpatine actually threatened Luke Skywalker about him doing that. So you can see how JJ is already borrowing that element from Legends and inserting it into the canon material for Star Wars Episode 9, except with Kylo Ren. So this is basically from what it seems to be a spiritual fight between both Luke and Sidious against each other, while the spirit of Sidious is in abstract form. What do I mean by that? Well, abstract form basically, it's just random shapes. Basically, the spirit of Sidious is going to be like this red cloud-like figure that hovers over Kylo Ren for the scene, where it's going up against the Force Ghost version of Luke Skywalker over Rey's shoulder, where Rey is actually using the ability in order to really stay in tune with Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost to go up against Kylo Ren and how he's possessed with Spirit of Sidious. So the one thing that I really do find very intriguing about this, though, is that we do know that the Force Ghost of Luke Skywalker in this way probably would be a lot more respectful than Luke's Force Ghost. Just let's say, for example, just being there for 30 seconds standing on a rock or sitting on a log. This seems like more of an epic experience for not just the casual fans, but also for the hardcore fans that are going to go ahead and see this movie come December 19th of this year. Now, speaking about Ian McDiarmid here, alright, now, it's said that as Kylo is possessed, he actually hears the voice of Sidious while he's already possessed, or at least partially possessed. And yes, this does remind me of The Exorcist, or maybe even like the movie Venom, or something around those lines, where you have a host body and the host actually hears the voice of the possessor. And that's a very interesting aspect for Star Wars that J.J. Abrams is going to be introducing for this movie. So Luke going up against Palpatine, it's said to be a brief moment where Luke only is a supplement to the fight between both Rey, Kylo, and Sidious, where Luke only weakens the spirit and puts it back into Kylo Ren's body. Now, from all the other leaks that we have been going over, this is said to connect to the moment in which Rey actually stabs Kylo Ren in order to help him out, and he actually asks for this to happen, and that's exactly where the whole resurrection thing probably will come into fruition, because the third act of this movie is said to involve resurrection toward two main characters, a legacy character and a sequel trilogy character. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that's all going to play out and roll out onto the big screen, how it's going to be executed. Honestly, guys, I'm very excited to see how this is all going to work out once it actually reveals itself in December of 2019. This big fight between both Luke, Sidious, Rey, Kylo Ren on and off. It's going to be a very interesting experience for sure. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.